I call Stuart William Seal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to stand with my colleagues and also support this bill. So this bill amends the Local Government Auckland Council Act 2009. And members of this House will recall what happened in 2009. This was when this government imposed on Auckland a super city structure, a structure which most Aucklanders called a corporate takeover, because in that particular time, sir, there was promises that there would be savings, there would be promises, a whole range of promises which have not come to pass. In that time, sir, there were 8 councils in Auckland. Every one of the suburbs in that city also had its community board. And every one of those councillors, so 8 councillors, had a chairman, a mayor, and a number of councillors. Once the structure came into place, sir, the governance structure was shrunk into only 20 members now and a mayor. What happened in Manukau, sir, is we lost our beloved city of Manukau. And so in Mangere, we used to have our community board, but now we have a local board which includes Mangere, Otahu, and parts of Papatoetoe. The point I'm making there, sir, is once upon a time, a person could have stood on one or more community boards, but not with the current structure as this government has put in place since 2009. Because essentially, sir, local boards have replaced what used to be our councils. And I say this constantly to our local board of Mangere, Otahu, that they are essentially representing our part of Manukau City to Auckland Council. And so I absolutely agree that the role of local board members now, and you know, we've got Le Maunga Lydia Sosene, who chairs the Mangere Otahu local board. That is a full-time role. She's a fantastic advocate for the community. All the officials speak very highly of her, but it's a full-time job. Every other member on that local board have portfolios that they look after. And I have to say, the chair seems to operate her local board as if that was a cabinet. And so, you know, in my mind, it's virtually impossible under the government-imposed structure for a person to fully implement her duties, her or his duties, if they're serving on one or more local boards. So there's no doubt in my mind, sir, that this is what ought to be. And I'm grateful that, you know, it wasn't just Maggie Barry, Phil Twyford raised this, and now I'm grateful that Alfred Ngaro has taken the opportunity to advance this particular bill. In the Select Committee stage, sir, and I don't know whether Mr. Ngaro would want to respond to it, but we did suggest at that early stage that, see, this is just Auckland. The bill amends the Auckland Council bill. But we've not yet considered other parts of New Zealand, whether the situation still occurs where you've got a person representing on one or more local boards representing those communities. As I said, I think under the old structure, where there was various representation going on and it was much closer to the community, you could afford to have somebody sitting on one or more boards, but not in this situation. Because this government took away our beloved Manukau City, the replacement has been this Manukau Mangere Otahu local board. And so I don't know whether that was considered. I remember Ron Mark one time in this house, before I was a Member of Parliament, raised an issue about policemen being able to stand on council. And I don't know whether the member whose bill this is had an opportunity to consider that or not. We have situations where councillors are able to stand for council as well as for the District Health Board. I don't know whether the member whose bill this is had an opportunity to consider that sort of situation. And so he may want to stand up and answer questions to that. But insofar as I'm concerned, Ms. Chair,
William
I'll
Seal.
just bring it to a close now. Yes, this bill ought to be supported and stand with my colleagues to do so. But there were some other questions that were raised that the bill could not answer, because this bill fixes a huge mistake that this government made in 2009 when it imposed the super city structure on Auckland, and despite the tens of thousands of people who protested against that imposed structure, which they called a hostile takeover of the assets of Auckland, they continue. And so we're having to fix again the mistakes of this government.
Dennis